That's part of why the Democratic ads suck, because the people making the ads also work for the corporations that those ads should be attacking in order to do effective populist campaigning. So Trump, I think, is a fake populist, but did a lot of, oh, I'm gonna get the sons of bitches, etc. But the Democrats never say anything like that in their ads, because the people making their ads are the corporate goons, and they have a conflict of interest because they would get fired.
Cenk Uygur is still reeling from the election along with Anna Kasparian, and now both are fuming at the corruption and money blown in the Kamala Harris campaign in this clip from the Young Turks, as Anna Kasparian reveals some shocking numbers to the amount wasted, and Cenk Uygur is now hating his own party for this colossal failure. Folks, the left are eating themselves alive ever since Donald Trump's victory, and today we get to see Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian reveal why that is.
It turns out that the consulting firms Kamala Harris's campaign hired in order to help her win the election that she actually ended up losing have all sorts of interests that conflict with what the Democratic Party purports to support policy-wise. And recently, the fine reporters over at Sludge investigated where the Harris campaign spent the $1 billion that they raised in just a few short months. And the details here are amazing. So let's examine them. So the Harris campaign's largest vendor, the vendor that they spent the absolute most money on, was the Media Buying and Analytics LLC, which is actually a front company for something called Canal Partners Media Firm. Okay, so Canal Partners does work that directly contradicts or counters Democratic policy objectives, which might explain the fact that it, in my opinion, like if you're promoting a Democrat, or a Democrat has hired you in order to help with the campaign, but you support all sorts of pro-corporate policies that the Democrat is against, I mean, isn't there a conflict of interest? Like, isn't there a possibility that maybe they'll put out some dog crap ads and give you bad advice?
Yeah, well, actually, that's exactly one of the things I wanted to get into, Anna, because that's part of why the Democratic ads suck, because the people making the ads also work for the corporations that those ads should be attacking in order to do effective populist campaigning. So Trump, I think, is a fake populist, but did a lot of, oh, I'm gonna get the sons of bitches, etc. But the Democrats never say anything like that in their ads, because the people making their ads are the corporate goons, and they have a conflict of interest because they would get fired by their other clients if they made ads that would be effective for the Democrats.
Guys, Trump, I don't know if you guys ever saw the YouTube ads that would play with Donald Trump's campaign messaging. It was literally just Trump standing in front of a window, by the way. So he looks dark because he's backlit, and he's just like, yeah, we're trying to raise money for my campaign. If you got a few bucks, like super low production. It was incredible, okay? But anyway, getting back to Kamala Harris's very expensive campaign.
I do find it amusing that Cenk Uygur explains all this and he knows that they do this, but he still votes for these people. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. But like Anna Kasparian pointed out, I mean, Trump, he had so many great ads. And then once he figured out, especially like I can go on a podcast, it doesn't cost anything, and I get 30 million views. I mean, he did Joe Rogan, he did this, he did that. He did all sorts of stuff, and they only raised like a third of the amount of money, and Kamala Harris spent more than she even raised anyway. So now her campaign is still in debt from all the money that they just blown. I mean, they spent, what was it, like 10 million on Beyonce, 5 million on Megan Thee Stallion, Eminem got 1.8 million. They just blew money on stars and this and that, and like just the old tale, like just throw money at the problem, just throw money at the problem and it'll just go away. And it's like hey, I'm glad to say it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. People aren't falling for it. And now what you do and how you do it, I mean, you can be so much more clever, but $1 billion wasted taxpayer dollars on what, folks? I mean, this is what Cenk Uygur is voting for. But yeah, let me know, like, how angry would that make you feel if you found out you gave all this money to your party and they blew it on all sorts of just stupid stuff, as more as you're going to see. Leave a like. Let's get back in.
So in 2022, let's get back to Canal Partners. Canal Partners worked for a pharmaceutical research and manufacturers of America, or pharma, front group Rare Access Action Project to help it run ads opposing the Biden administration's policy allowing Medicare to negotiate lower drug prices. So that's who they are. And that is the vendor that Kamala Harris's campaign spent the most money on. Media Buying and Analytics LLC, which falls under Canal Partners media firm, has overseen more than $280 million in ad production and placement spending for the Harris campaign, and that total is expected to increase once the FEC disclosures covering the final phase of the campaign are filed. So it's likely the number is much higher than the 280 million. But imagine spending hundreds of millions of dollars of your campaign money on this group, on this vendor, which has all sorts of corporate clients who are very much against the messaging and the policy proposals that Kamala Harris allegedly supports.
So two things about that. Exactly to our point, and what would have been a super effective ad is, and policy is, if Kamala Harris said, I'm gonna negotiate all drug prices. Joe Biden started off something positive. We're negotiating 10 of those prices, but I'm gonna do them all. And I'm gonna make sure that those big drug companies stop robbing you blind. Would have been through the roof. That's a super popular policy. Polls at over 80%. But they work for Big Pharma, so they were never going to do an ad that was going to get them fired from their other clients.
100%.
So hiring these corporate goons is so moronic. That's exactly why I call them corporate Democrats. And you wanna know another client of theirs? Uber. Who else is at Uber? Do you remember? Chief legal officer for Uber's Tony West.
Who's that?
Well, that's the brother-in-law for Kamala Harris, and the person who convinced Kamala Harris, stop talking about price gouging, stop talking about housing, start telling everybody how 90 corporate CEOs are on your side, start embracing the Cheneys, and start embracing big corporations.
It worked out well for her.
And how'd that work out for you, Kamala Harris? How'd that work out for you, Democratic Party, listening to morons, corrupt people like Tony West, driving the party into a ditch so they can get paid more?
Like, I would just ask Cenk, yo, bro, if you know all of this about your party, if you know this is how do you keep supporting these people? Like, how do you keep, I understand you don't like Donald Trump, you don't like the other side, but if the other side is at least breaking away from all that, trying to do stuff for the average person, because your party, the Democrats, aren't doing anything. I mean, Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian's left the left. I mean, she did that, a little while ago because she just had, I don't know why Cenk Uygur is still following them. I mean, they should both just be independents and just go that route at this point. $280 million, and that's probably going to go up. What? Donald Trump's entire campaign was like 360 million, 280. Okay, if you raise that by 25%, roughly, you're almost at the same number of his entire campaign. Like, they could have spent the equivalent of Donald Trump's entire campaign on ads that were completely the opposite of what they probably should have been doing and are actually beneficial for the actual voter. It's like they spent $400 million almost against their own people. Like, this is why the left is eating the left. You've got corporatists, you've got there's really no, it's just a fractured group of everybody shoved underneath one umbrella, but they're all different. They're still fractured. They're still not united. They're still just eating each other alive because it doesn't work. And just watching Cenk Uygur have to explain all this to everybody. I mean, let me know in the comments, but I get the read that it just eats at themselves. It's like, these idiots, but I'm voting for them. I mean, let me know how you think, but it's always funny to watch Cenk Uygur just have to absolutely rip his own party for how stupid we already know that they are, but he's still in the woke bubble. So maybe one day he'll be like Anna Kasparian and wise up and leave the left. But hopefully he doesn't. Otherwise, that's less content. But folks, thanks for watching. Again, leave a like, subscribe, take care, and I will see you on the next one.